Hello everyone. We'll get started now. So if you could, unless you guys have sent me a message, we expect that you guys all turn your cameras on. So I already have two people who have messaged me about it, so you guys are off the hook. It's fine. But for others, we do I highly recommend that you guys turn your cameras on.
Okay, so to get this started, this is just a briefing, and just like we're going to tell you what is going to happen in the next school year as it comes, and what you guys should expect and what you guys should plan to do. So our mission is still the same. We are a student-led organization, Teens to Teens, that advocates for underrepresented children. But we originally had 5 parts of law enforcement, journalism, volunteering, advertising, podcast, but we're going to change that a bit with instead of podcasts, we're going to look more into the education part, and the podcast will be a part of the advertisement section. Law reform will still be there, but we won't really take it into actions until we have any major success. Journalism and volunteering and advertisement will be our main focus, while education we're planning to do a bit more here, but I'll explain that a bit later. Just to briefly introduce ourselves, I'm the president of Teens to Teens. I'm Theo. I currently go to Chong Dalton School, and I'm a class of 2029. And if Jane, you can introduce yourself.
So hi, my name is Jane, and I again go to Cheongna Dawson School, and I'm in the graduating class of 2029.
Sarah?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Kim. I'm the secretary of TTT and I go to NLCS Jeju. I'm year 10, which is grade 9 in American year. Nice to meet you.
Yep, and unfortunately, our head of operations is currently in a flight coming to Korea, so he won't be here. But just to introduce him, he's Jay, and he's part of DIS.
So to briefly go over chapter clubs, which is one of the main purpose of this meeting. So if you guys are not aware already, chapter clubs are basically branches of clubs that are under a bigger NGO or a governmental organization. For in this case, since Teens to Teens is an NGO, chapter clubs will be operated in that it's branches of Teens to Teens. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have a couple of requirements for the Teens to Teens chapter clubs. So first is that they're able to make a chapter club, or whether that's a localized club in their area or a school club in the next 26-27 academic school year, whether that's semester 1 or 2. So some schools will be starting earlier than others. And second is that they have a president and secretary. Those are the 2 required positions. And also they have to have a minimum of 5 members, including all the leadership roles that we mentioned before. And further, if the president or the lead executive is a senior or a rising senior, then you guys must have a lower grade vice president. Also, we do have work expectations and monthly reports that we expect from you guys. So those will be assigned, and we do expect that you guys complete all of them in format. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are the basic chapter assignments that we have outlined so far. And one is that for the first one is that you guys must have a fundraiser per semester. Big or small, at any scale, it must be of some sort and at least once per semester. So you guys are not limited to just one, but you guys can have multiple, but at least one. And second is one advertisement post every other month. So this is bi-monthly, and this won't happen during summer or winter or spring break if you guys still have one, but it'll just be every 2 months we would ask you guys for an awareness post, which would go up on our main Instagram page. The third one is again bi-monthly, and it will be a newspaper article. And this does not include breaks again. And there are exceptions made if the chapter club has talked to us beforehand about this, but if not, then you guys will be expected to write an article, whether this is on editorial, opinion-based, or simply more informational. And fourthly are monthly assignments. So these are more created based on time to time circumstances. And simply, this will be just a list of assignments where we'll be giving them out, and you guys will be expected to complete them before the end of each month. So we'll be giving you guys due dates and specific assignments based on your chapter school's scale and who's part of your organization. And lastly is a monthly report. So this is just a summary of what your chapter club is doing. So just so that we know what you guys are doing and we can keep you guys on track. Next slide, please. Okay, so just to talk briefly about the fundraisers, again, once per semester, and you guys will be required to submit an expense report. So before the event, you guys have to fill out an expense report. So how much you guys spend specifically on what and how much of it, and send to the main branch treasurer for approval. But this treasurer part might change. You guys might have to just send it to our official email. And also, if your school doesn't directly offer funding, then Teens to Teens may be able to provide that start seed funding, but this amount may be limited due to the scale of organization right now. And of course, event reports will be mandatory, so you guys have to write and send the event report after each event, so we know exactly what you guys did, and maybe it can also be put up for post. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is just a overview of what I just said. And the reason that we talked about papers was because I mentioned before that there's exceptions to news article writing, and that's because there's also two other options that chapter schools can choose from if they do not wish to participate in news articles. So that can either be a research paper or a fictional story. But we do highly recommend that you guys stick with news articles. It's the simplest and it's a great way to start writing. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just quickly go over the leadership within chapters. So I'm sure that if you guys are starting in semester 1 of the 26-27 school year, then you guys already have this sorted. But the first is president. So they'll be the main person in charge with communication from the main branch, which would be the head secretariats, me, Dio, Sarah, Jay, and you guys will see that general overflow within the chapter. And this would include making sure that all members are on task, you guys submit your monthly reports on time, and that you guys get all the bi-monthly operations done. Second is a vice president. You guys can have one. Like, that's up to you, really up to you guys, unless you guys are a rising senior, then it's mandatory. And as for secretary, this is a required position. And secretary can, again, it's kind of similar to the president, except that you guys will be more focused on writing the monthly report, since chapter clubs, there is some writing that you guys will have to fulfill, and that be done through the aid of secretariats and the secretary here. Next slide, please. Right, so I know this sounds scary, but it's really not that big of a deal. So chapter evaluations will be done throughout the academic year via a point system. So this system will be given based on how many expectations have you guys have met, and having a low point or not meeting the minimum requirements, which we'll announce later, may lead to you guys not being able to use our official name, Teens to Teens, or our logo. And also each academic semester, so in a year there's 2, we'll have best chapters, and they will be awarded and recognized within our official pages. So some evaluation criteria that we have thus far are amount of members, so how much you guys were able to branch out and make an impact in your local community, having a net profit from charity drives, so this could include the fundraising that we mentioned, how many Instagram posts approved, how many additional events hosted, and more. So of course we mentioned that you guys have to submit bi-monthly writings and Instagram posts, but of course you guys can do more, and we highly suggest that you guys do more than the minimum requirements that we gave you. Next slide, please. Okay, so far we have 2 confirmed chapter clubs, as you guys can see over there, and we also have a lot more coming. Next slide, please. And if anyone from at least one of your chapter clubs could screenshot this or scan this and have it saved, this is a general outline that we have for chapter clubs as we've presented thus far. It's still in progress, but it would be good if you guys can just keep this on hold. We will, of course, send it out later when we have it finalized, but if you guys want to take a look at it now, feel free to scan it. Okay, next slide, please. Now
Okay,
Theo will explain a little more about the leadership team.
So the leadership team is going to change as we move into 26-27 school year. So if you're like a very original member, you'll probably be able to recognize this. But what technically we're talking about here is that the secretariats are mostly going to be the same, but we're going to spread out into 3 branches. As I told you, there will be the chief academic officer, which is technically the education branch, which I talked about. And underneath, there will be the chief executive newspapers, chief executive of language education, chief executive of curriculum editing. They'll be just overall be in charge of the academic part. So the newspaper will come here, and then making the curriculum will also come here. The chief digital officer, which is currently Eleanor Park, and then underneath her will be chief executive of advertisement, chief executive editor. So technically here, just editing posts, confirming posts from chapter clubs and stuff like that. And then the rest is managed by Minister of Affairs, but this is just a bit of other stuff, miscellaneous stuff. So these people are a bit of an exception, and mostly the secretariats will talk with them directly and assign them on what they will be doing in the future. Now, as I said, the rules, the head of operations will oversee the leadership team, which is J. The secretary will oversee chapters. Now, what the chief directors is now becoming is they're going to be responsible of their department, which is going to be the academics department, media department, miscellaneous department. So should be in charge of their own part. So they have more of a responsibility to make sure that their department has executed what was needed to do. And the academics department, as I said, is in charge of curriculum development and writing. Media department is in charge of advertisement, and miscellaneous is a bit of a different part, which is working on the logistical stuff. Now, we're trying to make the chapter clubs and the leadership team to kind of work together. So how that work is pretty simple. So for writing, clubs will write something and then they'll send it over to the AD, which is the academic department, and they'll send a revision and they'll send it back to the club, and then the club will revise this, send it back to the academic department, and possibly if it's good enough, we won't ask for second revision. We'll just immediately edit it and then send to the secretariat and publish it. But if it is needed, we may ask for a second revision. The same goes for the advertisement department. We'll send it over. The advertisement will be made from chapters. We'll send it over to the media department. There'll be a revision, and then it'll be sent back. And then if it's needed, we'll do a second revision, but if not, we'll just publish it. What we're saying is that the red parts may not be executed. That's just how I just said. And looking forward, what we're trying to do in the future is we're trying to increase collaboration with events and promotions. Not all of them here are solidified, but some of them that I'm currently talking to, the secretaries are currently messaging, is such as the INU, which is a organization that's looking towards to educating younger children. The Cornerstone Business Competition, which hasn't been directly solidified, but is a possible competition that we might collaborate with. Peacemaker Korea is another non-profit organization that is working towards Korean unification. And SABE is we're looking towards a chapter of SABE. And although it's in the talking process, there is a possibility that we might collaborate with them. So for curriculum development, we're focusing on English because at the end of the day, the only advantage that we have towards other regular Korean students is that we're able to speak in English and our organization works in English. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a curriculum for students for underserved children that can learn about language and literature and speaking in English. And so we can teach them stuff. But then what some of the brainstorm thoughts that the secretary have talked about is about just talking about how making like maybe a book that you can use for school, but then we can print those out with the fundraise money and we can send it over to orphanages or other underserved children around the world. That's going to be in the process after we make the curriculum. We're also, as I said, we're also trying to establish chapter schools, and then with this, we're also trying to increase the participation of all members, not just leadership or chapter members. Now, what I was just saying was that we're still looking for, and we will be looking for additional chapters as we move into semester 1. We're still looking for people who is dedicated to make a chapter in their school. Collaborations, we'll still look at it. You've seen our previous events, such as the running thing, or you've also seen our events such as the one we did together with the Yeonsu Seongsoyeon Center. We're trying to make more of an impact by collaborating with other people and other organizations to make an impact that we can't really do alone. Now, we are trying to pick more additional leadership roles as we try to expand. The chief executive curriculum editing is just technically a chief executive that will helping and assisting the chief academic officer in making the curriculum. The chief academic officer is a chief director, which is a significant role where the person will be overseeing the academic department. The chief executive editor we've had multiple editors in the past years, like past months, but we're looking for someone who's actually would be able to and have a lot of experience in editing. So if you sign up to be a chief executive editor, then we will ask you to send a video that you have edited before. All interviews will be happening, but they'll be probably short for the chief executive editor, but for other people, they'll probably be a bit more significant. The QR is the sign-up code. Of course, we're going to send it to the main group chat as soon as this meeting ends, so don't worry about that. And the application has a due date, so please look at that also. If you have any questions, you can ask me or just send a message to the Teens Gmail account, or just look at I wrote that wrong, but our website, and you can just like look around there and see what's happening. That's my phone number. I do not highly recommend you calling me because I don't really want to call. It would be better to be more associated officially, but if you have to, and if you're really, really curious about something that you want to ask me personally, you are free to call me anytime. So if anyone has any questions.
If you guys have any questions right now, you guys can ask him. Just raise your hand and we can call on you. Or if you guys are unable to use your mic right now, just type them in the Google Meet chat and then we can answer them. We'll just wait a couple minutes to see if you guys think of any questions. This can be about the open leadership, chapter clubs, or anything you're just curious about Teens to Teens. Or if you guys have fun promotional ideas, we would also really love to hear them for our Instagram page. So if you guys have any real ideas, right now the secretariats are filming a set log type of thing. I don't know if that's the right name, but if you guys have any other fun promotional ideas, and if you would also like to be part of it, please let us know now. We want fresh ideas.
And also, we mentioned it in the main group chat a couple of days ago, but we are currently looking for some people who can kind of do a short interview that they can film at home and send it over. We're going to ask some people too, but we're just looking forward for some people who's willing to participate in that advertisement. So just a heads up. Well, if there's no questions, I think that's a wrap. So I think, yeah, you're free to leave. And if you have any questions, again, please contact me privately or through the main Gmail, whatever you prefer that you feel comfortable in. We will share the recording and all the general information in the group chat. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, just stay behind if you guys are just shy to ask questions. Then you guys can just stay behind and ask us. Bye. Thank you for joining.